Let me share with you the screen. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 22nd chapter, texts 14 and 15. Text 14. Manayambo kritasvantu nanda gopa sutam priyam janimong ga praja slagyam dehi vasam sive pitaham. Translation. The gopi said, Dear Krishna, don't be unfair. We know that you are the respectable son of Nanda and that you are honored by everyone in Braj. You are also very dear to us. Please give us back our clothes. We are shivering in the cold water. And then the next one is text 15. Shyama sundarate dasya karavamata bodhitam dehivasam siddharmagya nochetragye bruvamahe. Translation. O Shyamasundara, we are your maidservants and must do whatever you say. But give us back our clothing. You know what the religious principles are. And if you don't give us our clothes, we will have to tell the king, please. And well, there was no purport to these. So what I did was I looked at the at Srila Prabhupada's translation. Well, his summary of the of this chapter, but he also didn't say much with respect to this. So I looked at here the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur for these two verses. So in the commentary it says, in this verse, for the text 14, in this verse, the gopis tried to satisfy Krishna by using one of the four diplomatic principles known as Sama, pacification. The gopis said, you are born in a cultured family, so you should not do unworthy activities, anarya. And then he gives both Krishna and the gopis inner dialogue here. Krishna, it is obvious that you do not respect me, for you are not afraid of calling me bad names. The gopis say, we do not know any other places of Vraja, but we know you, the son of King Nanda. The word Gopa means king as well as a cowherd man. Furthermore, you are praised and loved by the Vrajavasis. Krishna, oh foolish women, if I am the king's son, then what wrong can I do? If you say that the king's son should do no wrong actions, then I say, if I am doing wrong, how can I be praised and loved by everyone in Braj? It is not possible to praise or love a wrongdoer. The gopis. True, we simple women are ignorant of how to speak. Please forgive us. Therefore, give us our clothing. We are shivering in the cold. With these words, the Vrajakumaris invoked Krishna's mercy. And then for the 15, the commentary is in this verse, the gopis continue their attempts to pacify Sama, Krishna, taking the word Shyama with a dental S as Syama is Chitsuka's reading of the word. Chitsuka is an Advaitin commentator on the Bhagavatam. Notice that this is still Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. With this meaning, the gopis said, we, being your maidservants, will carry out your word. The implication is that it is only fitting for us to have an attitude of service to you, who are the king. The gopis continued, moreover, because you are very beautiful, Sundara, we have to become your servants, and thus, under the guise of being servants, we will offer our very selves to you. Then the gopis employed the diplomatic principle known as Veda, process of dividing, by using rough language to weaken Krishna. The gopis said, O knower of religious principles, Dharmagya, you will be acting irreligiously if you steal the wealth of chastity from women and see them naked. seeing that it is futile to instill fear in religion, adharma, in Krishna, the gopis then resorted to threats to instill Krishna. If you do not give our clothing, we will complain to the king, Nanda or Kamsa. I'll stop here. Magyanatimidandasya Ginanjanashalakaya Chakshurun Militamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Before I begin, I would like to ask all the assembled devotees to please bless me so that I may speak something which is in line with our Guru Parampara, which is beneficial to our lives, and for our hearts to become fertile ground for this sublime message to take root on. So we are in a very bewildering part of the Bhagavatam, which is the Krishna dealing with the gopis. So we have gone through so many of these different chapters, starting with the first canto, that talk to us about Krishna in his majestic form, that talk to us about the different incarnations of Krishna, like Lord Nrsingadev, Varahadev. We have seen, what bhakti is in the different, in different stages with different devotees, like Hanuman or like Dhruva Maharaj. And now we're in the most confidential ones with Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the gopis. Now, if you do not if you have not gone through this process, it can be very bewildering to see Krishna, dealing with the gopis here, saying like, what's going on? I mean, come on, is this really God? Why is he doing this? And that was my initial reaction when I first read the Krishna book. I was just, I totally entered it without knowing, anything about, these confidential pastimes and how one cannot just jump into them. And I remember thinking, especially when I got to this part, because I wanted to initially what I got the book and it said like, oh, I've heard that Krishna, likes to dance, and I'm a dancer, so I want to hear about his dancing. Yeah, that dancing is the most esoteric part of the Vedic scriptures that I didn't know. So I started. I said, let me start a few of these chapters before, just to get warmed up and get the idea of what's happening. And when I got to this chapter, I didn't even get to the Rasa Lila. When I got to this chapter, that's when I stopped, because I just couldn't go through it. It was like, why is Krishna being so mean to these girls? And from my point of view, it was like he's also being like a little lusty and like something's not right here with my understanding. So let me just put down this book and let me come back to it later. Let me just continue doing this bhakti yoga, and eventually I will understand this. And it took years, and also the help of devotees to help me understand what it is that is happening here. Our sense of what is right, what is wrong, what is moral, what is immoral, is very much tainted with is very not tainted, but like is very much informed by the environment we grew up in. If you grew up in India in a very traditional household, you will have a very different set of morals than if you grew up, I don't know, let's say in a rough neighborhood in Brooklyn or in in Detroit. And also, like what time in what period in history we are in, like how do we see women nowadays versus how they saw women back in the 50s or back in the 1500s. It is all informed by all of these things. So what we can think is that something is moral or immoral is very much fluctuating. And we ourselves may think something at the beginning of our lives, and then towards the end of our lives, we may think something totally different. So what we have to understand is what is being spoken here. Not what is the context in which everything is spoken here. Notice that this narration is being given by Shukadev Goswami, who is a sage that is so renounced from everything around him, that he can walk around naked without feeling the least agitated by anything, without caring for the world in any way. And women see him like that, and they see him just like a little child, even though he's already a teenager. He's a Paramahamsa. He's in the renounced order of the highest level, and he's speaking this, and he's speaking it to a king that has very limited time left in his life, and wants to understand the basis, the essence of religion, of what is to be done. That is the context that we're dealing with here. And when Shukadev Goswami comes to this specific place in the narration, he's giving King Parikshit the essence of renunciation, the essence of how to let go and surrender absolutely to Krishna. And that is what is happening here. The gopis are surrendering to Krishna. Now, how is this being done? Is it being done immediately? No, it's being done in sequence. Krishna first, he steals their garments, right? And then he tells him, okay, get out of the water. If I have your clothes. If you want them, you have to come out of the water. And they complain and everything like that, but they eventually and Krishna tells him like, hey, look what you just said. You actually by bathing naked in this, you have committed an offense. They didn't really, but he's just this is part of the Leela of that pastime. He says you committed an offense to the river and to now if you want to if you want to atone for that, you have to come and pay obeisance to me. Get out of the river and pay obeisance to me. And so they do. And then, well, if you have to pay your obeisance, like you have to put your hands together and raise them high. So it's like they're really exposing themselves and all that. The idea with this is that Krishna is bringing them to the point of total surrender. When we come in front of Krishna, when we come in front of the deity or in front of a spiritual master, we're coming in naked, in the figurative sense here. Please don't go in front of the deity naked, but do it with that spirit that I'm not holding anything back. And that's what Krishna wants. He wants for us to just go completely and not hold anything back. Here I am with all of my virtues and my faults. And Krishna will this is part of the process of surrendering, and it's a gradual process in which Krishna, little by little, he challenges us. He takes us from the point of rebellion completely against him, I don't even believe who God is, to the point of I hold nothing back for you. Here's everything. And so that's what he did with the gopis. At different stages in our lives, we will be asked by Krishna to do different things. And it will challenge us. It will challenge our morals. It will challenge our sense of what is right and what is wrong, our sense of what is to be done and not to be done, everything, to the point of wanting of holding nothing back to him. For example, we see that with King Yudhishthira. Krishna, they were in the battle, and what did he ask of King Yudhishthira? Okay, now you lie. Now, King Yudhishthira, he was known very well for being always truthful, absolutely truthful. And Krishna asked of him, now lie at this point. At the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, there's Arjuna, Krishna's devotee, and he is giving Krishna so many reasons, very valid reasons, moral reasons as to why not to fight. And Krishna is going like, okay, yeah, you're a fool. And then it takes 18 chapters, actually 17, to explain to him why he is a fool. And why the best course for him is just to do as Krishna is saying, which is fight. That was something that was very bewildering to me when I first heard that notion. It's like, wait, the Bhagavad Gita is a book about God telling somebody to fight in a war. For me, God is about love. God is about peace. How could it be that God is telling somebody to go in a fight? So again, we're projecting onto this our sense of what is right and what is wrong, what should be done and what is not, what is God and what God is not. So for me, it doesn't make sense. But then I had to understand, well, it was a war in which dharma or religious principles were to be upheld by righteous people or destroyed by evil people. So it was necessary for Arjuna to fight. So it's like, okay, then that makes more sense. But then I had to understand, these concepts, and like that, the Bhagavatam, little by little, has been challenging us, especially in the 9th canto. Just before this one, we see so many pastimes with different people that are just very bewildering. And the idea is that when we get to the 10th canto, we understand what it is that Krishna really is representing. Krishna says, "Sarva dharma parityaja mamekam sharanam praja ham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha isyami masucha." He says to abandon all sorts of conceptions of dharma that we may have and just surrender unto him. Do what he is asking us to do. Now, we may say, well, how do I know what Krishna wants me to do? It's, well, there's a spiritual master, and we can talk to him, and we can ask him, and we can pose questions saying like, well, I don't think that's right. Can you explain to me what that should be? That's what Arjuna did. When the process of surrendering is not the process of necessarily giving up our intelligence. It's not giving up, just becoming mindless people who have no morals and whatever. It is yes, or her. Yes, the spiritual master. Sorry, it have good correction. We have to understand what it is that we are surrendering to, and how we're surrendering to that. And questioning is something that is very much in the Vedic culture. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Now you should inquire into the absolute truth. Arjuna asked, Krishna, like, listen, you're telling me to do this, but I don't understand because there is this and that. And that was okay. And Krishna was willing to explain the whole thing again after he explained it to him. So we surrender with our intelligence, knowing how we're surrendered. So it is said that it is not so important what we do, but why we do something. That's what Krishna really wants. We're surrendering this way. It may be small, but why are we doing it? And Krishna will be pushing us. He'll be pushing us. Sometimes it may be something very very simple, like, okay, I have to the temple president in the ashram that I'm living may now be telling me you have to get up very early in the morning so that you can attend Mangalarti. And I don't want to, but okay, for the I surrender. I surrender and I go to that. So maybe I become proud and it's like, okay, yeah, look, I surrendered. You didn't. I come to Mangalarti every morning. Yeah, but then Krishna may challenge us in another way, saying like, well, okay, now that you have come to Mangalarti, now I'm going to ask something else of you. You this ego that you have developed because of that. Now I'm going to ask you that there's going to be this other devotee that I'm going to bring in, and he's going to cause havoc in your life, and you're going to have to tolerate it for the sake of continue being in the ashram. Later on, you may say like, okay, I surrender to that. Maybe you're now in a house with your spouse, and you're in a difficult discussion with that spouse, and for the sake of the relationship, you may have to surrender and say like, okay, you're right, even though you were right. Even though you completely knew that you're right, but for the sake of saving the relationship, you might have to say like, okay, you're right. what is right, what is wrong in here. It's all about really going for the higher principle. How can I please Krishna better? What can I do to please Krishna in this situation? And like that, to all the way to the very end, Krishna will be pushing us, like he pushed the gopis here, to come to a place where we're just saying, like, you know what, whatever you ask me to do, Krishna, I will do. Now, somebody may say, well, my spiritual master, he or she is not coming every day. You know, I can't see him or her on a daily basis, right? How can I ask? Well, Krishna will send representatives to help you on your way. He will send you guides to help you on your way. And you can ask those guides, please, you know, what can I do in this situation? What is the best? And when devotees are very much in close proximity to Krishna, because of their actions, their words, and everything, they can transmit Krishna's desires. Krishna can work through anyone in your life. And this, again, this is a process of faith, yes, but it's not of blind faith. You develop relationships with these devotees where you trust them, that they have your best interest in mind, that they are actually, living a life in such a way that they're in contact with God, and that their actions are always pleasing to God. This is something that is developed over time. So it is 7:44, and I'd like to leave a little time for discussion. So if anybody has any questions, comments, or nice jokes, this is the time.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Wonderful class. Thank you so much. You made we can only reflect the good points that you made, that Krishna may ask each of us to do things that we're not accustomed to, we wouldn't expect, and it might not be easy. And this trust and obedience is not misplaced. And in this world, we tend to misplace our obedience. What? Hello?
Yes, we're hearing.
Yeah, in this world, it's possible to misplace our trust. And the trust in Krishna is reflected in our relationship with our spiritual master. And if we really want somebody in our life who's worthy of our trust and obedience, then Krishna will send it, as far as I can understand. And as I've experienced, that I was reflecting the other day on all the different devotees that I've had the privilege of working under different authorities, and I'm trying to maintain that desire. Krishna, I want to please you. What servant do you want me to serve, and where do you want me? And Krishna always has reciprocated with that, and given me wonderful people to take shelter of and to trust. So it's a little scary, because there are many people that are not worthy of trust, that will try to manipulate us and become like a tin god in our life and tell us what to do. But basically, since they're not pure in their intention, we might be misdirected. But it's consoling to know that although there might be things that we might be challenged to ask to do, that if we really maintain that desire, Lord, I want to do your will, then there will be somebody there of the right caliber. Prabhu, you want to say something? No? Okay. Thank you very much. Wonderful class. Fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Jai Prabhupada. Angelica, sorry, what's your initiated name now?
Hare Krishna, it's Ananda Manjari.
Ananga Manjari. So, sorry, yes, please.
No problem. Yeah, I just wanted to reflect my appreciation for the point that you made of like, yeah, what if we don't live with a spiritual master, which is pretty much like majority of us, or like of in Srila Prabhupada's family, and to the point that actually there's just no material impediment to really following and receiving instructions from Krishna of how to serve him and how to serve his devotees. That if we really open our eyes and if we are receptive, like the instructions and the guidance is just going to come anyway, because it just cannot be stopped. And so it's just a matter of our surrender and ability to hear. And so I just really appreciated that point.
Jai. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes. Yes, Andrea. Hari Hari.
Hare Krishna, Murli Gopal Das Prabhu. Congratulations, first off, on what Ananda Vihari shared, even though you're going to be taken away from our Gainesville community. But I am very happy for whatever community gets you in Texas, that they will have your darshan and your, just your sweetheart. So congratulations on that. One of the things that you shared that really resonated with me was about, and I wrote a little bit in the chat about being stubborn, and how like Krishna will challenge us a lot of times to let go of our stubbornness. And I feel like if anything, you were kind of speaking of it in a very gentle and kind way, because a lot of times what I realize is that it's very ego driven for myself. You know, when I'm being stubborn in terms of something that I realize that Krishna is leading me to, you know, like my spiritual teachers are leading me to. And I just like, I'm like that donkey that's just like refusing to go that way. And I'm just like, no, because you kind of, at least for me, sometimes I get stuck. And I think it's what you were talking about, the conditioning that we kind of have in terms of like where we grew up and things like this, that you get this like viewpoint of like, no, my spiritual path has to look this way, right? Or I'm going to be going this way. And you start kind of making a story for yourself of what it should be. And you're not listening to what Krishna and through, you know, and the spiritual teachers that he's speaking through are trying to tell you, no, I understand that you have this story about what your spiritual path should be looking like, but this is actually what I want you to do. This is how you can best serve me. This is how you can actually submit and be receptive to my love, to being able to serve the devotees and myself. So I know that's a bit long-winded, but I just that really resonated for me, because once I was able to kind of let that go, that's when everything came to be in terms of what Ananda Bihari was saying, like about getting initiated and kind of moving forward with that. So thank you so much for saying that. Haribol.
Hari, thank you. Yeah. Sometimes, you know, Krishna may he may do it, you know, he may start giving us like some hint, like, okay, I want you to do this. And we go like, and I don't know. I want you to do this. Yeah, but there's that, like that. And sometimes he'll just go like, okay, whether you like it or not, this is what's going to happen. And we have to be ready and willing to accept that. You know, it's like okay, I didn't want this. You know, like he may want to say, you know, something like as simple as, I wanted to change jobs, you know, and do this. And you know, he may go like, okay, well, you're going to lose this job, and you know, because I want you to do that other thing instead. So he may sometimes deal with us that way. We have to understand that we are a work in progress. We're like this, you know, impure gold that he is just forging and, you know, melting and purifying and putting it into a beautiful into a beautiful shape. He will be he'll be doing it to us, and sometimes it may not feel so nice. So sometimes it's great. It's like, oh wow, thank you, Krishna. Like I got something that I really wanted, and great. I'll be using it in your service. Great, beautiful. Congratulations to you. But sometimes it's not so nice, and just being okay with it. Not antagonizing Krishna and going like, oh, this is what happens, for being a devotee. This is what happens, for like that. No, just like understanding, like, letting go of that and saying, okay, Krishna, let me just be moved by you. Let me be your puppet. Let me dance as you like. Jamuna Jai, you've been raising your hand for a long time. Your virtual hand must be very tired.
Oh, my virtual hand. First of all, congratulations, Murli, and congratulations, Andrea, to both of you. But the last two speakers, just the contributions, just really reminded me of something that Jai Jagannath said once in a Gita class when we were talking about the fact that Krishna says, it says the thing about, in one way or another, better to live your own dharma, even imperfectly, than to live in others. Here it is, this has been given to you. He says it very strongly. And what Jai Jagannath said is like, yeah, it sets a bad precedent. I remember used those words. If all of a sudden we start thinking, I know better than you, Krishna. No, the master creator of the universe. I think I got this. I think I know better than you. So I always think about that. And when you start discussing, that's what I think. It's like human beings start to think that, oh no, Krishna, no, I know better than you. But that kind of thinking sets a really bad precedent for us to continue thinking that way. So I was just reminded of that in the way that Jai Jagannath said it in his very, really distinct, beautiful way. So thank you for a wonderful class, Murli.
Yeah, no, thank you. We don't have the vision that Krishna has. He looks at things in the long term. He looks at us, at things as they're going to be put together for us. He looks at where we are right now, even when we don't want to look at that. Things that we may not even know that are there. He knows that are there. And he's expert at knowing how to bring them out. Sometimes it may be, I don't know, your children that will bring them out. Maybe sometimes it's your parents who will bring them out of you.
Spouse.
The spouse. And you go like, oh wow, that was there. Yeah, I had not noticed that. And Krishna goes like, oh, I knew about that. And these are wonderful ways of going like, okay, Krishna, what can I do now? Show me how I can, get through this. Show me how I can. This is all the process of Sharanagati, which includes danya, humility. Humility and saying like, I don't know what's best for me always. Humility in knowing that, hey, I will accept what you give me. This is what's coming right now for me, and I have no say about it. Okay, allow me to do this. I think it was Ram Roy Prabhu said that for many years, Krishna is just dragging me, and I'm just kicking and screaming. Now I've stopped kicking, screaming. After all.
Murli Gopal, what's this Akashvani? Is that me? Okay. Yeah, Murli Gopal, is that okay? Is it okay to try things out in Krishna consciousness? Or we should just submit immediately and surrender right away? Or we can try things out?
Well, we are always trying things out all the time. And generally, if you notice, like Krishna doesn't always micromanage us. He doesn't always micromanage us. Many times when you go to the spiritual master and say like, Gurudev, what can I do? What can I do for you? What is the usual thing that in most cases that spiritual master will say to you? Well, what do you want to do? What do you want to do for Krishna? So it's not always like micromanaging. There's that free will. There's like, okay, how do you wanna serve Krishna? Okay, this way, like that. Now within that, Krishna will arrange different things, and eventually, you may have something that is very specific, like, okay, I want you to do this, but it is always initiated with our free will. It may be something like, oh yeah, I want to serve Krishna by I don't know, helping out Adi Purush Prabhu in his serving meals to the homeless. Okay, very good. But then it may be something like, okay, once you're there, Adi Purush Prabhu may say like, what we need help here is in I need you to help load the cart. Oh no, I don't do that. It's like, no, okay, you chose this, now this is the service that you're given, like, do it, so there is always that balance of, Krishna will allow us to do, how do you want to serve? But then when you start serving, then he'll give you specifics. And Prabhupada was always trying out new things. Okay, this didn't work.
Yeah.
This didn't work. Okay, let's try this. Oh, that didn't work either. Let's try this. Prabhupada was always, that was Prabhupada's way of, seeing like, what does Krishna want? What does Krishna want? Okay, let me do this. It was with action. Let me do this. Okay, it seems like that's not gonna. Krishna doesn't want this. He's not allowing this. Okay, let me try something else. Krishna, do you want it this way? No, that's not happening. Okay, Krishna, do you want it this way? He's always trying out, and always surrendering to Krishna, letting slide whatever. What happens is that we become like spoiled children most of the times. Why is this not going on? I should get whatever I want. Wah wah wah. But we just have to understand. Okay, Krishna is directing my life right now. Let me see. Let me have that vision, that open vision of where does he want me to go? What does he want me to do?
Nice, Murli Gopal Prabhu. Perfect answer. Srila Prabhupada would try things out, and we should. Thank you very much. Murli Gopal Prabhu ki jai. It's darshan time, dear devotees. Please turn your cameras on if you can. Thank you, Adipurusha. Oh,
I have a quick question. I put it in the chat. Nobody answered it. I just want to ask Murli Gopal, you said Sharanagati, blah, blah, da, 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 and then Danya, humility. But what's Sharanagati? Like, can you give a definition of what that is? Because I don't understand it. Thank you.
Sharanagati is surrender. Also, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has beautiful songs that talk about this process of surrendering, the different stages of surrendering. And of these different stages, he gives a couple of different songs for each of those stages for us to understand, to meditate on what it means to surrender. And in each of those stages, from the very beginning, like that humility, all the way up to like Atmanivedana, to giving our heart and life to God.
what stage are you on?
The very first one.
Okay, good to know.
Struggling with that very first one.
Okay, good. Any questions, reflections? I have a reflection, if I may. Murli Gopal Prabhu, you so wonderfully described how we're surrendering to a guru, we're surrendering to a person, we're surrendering to Krishna. We're not just surrendering to voidness, or we're not surrendering, period. We're surrendering to a devotee we're working with. We're surrendering to the guru. We're surrendering to Srila Prabhupada, to our spouse. For goodness sake, they're also acting as representatives of Krishna in our life. So I wanted to highlight this personal aspect of surrender. This is all personal. And it's easy. And I was also thinking, in the morning, I'm like a pure devotee. I'm eager to chant my rounds, do devotional service. And then by the nighttime, I'm like a complete full-on demon, completely overpowered by my senses, completely deranged and disturbed, anxious. Does anybody else have that? transformation.
Yes, so you have to go to sleep before that transformation happens.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're like a werewolf. Before that happens, go to bed. Nice, Andrea.
We all have that. We all have our breaking point. We all have our Kurukshetra moment where Krishna might ask us to do something we don't understand. The classic example in the Bible is Abraham. He had his only son. He was promised a son. He told the son would have descendants like the stars in the sky and the sand on the beach, and that from those descendants, the Messiah would come. Right? You know that story? Yeah. And so then the Lord said, "Oh, by the way, Abraham, I want you to take that son up on the mountain and put him on the altar and sacrifice him, tie him up and kill him." And it was like
Right.
contrary to everything he'd heard before. And it was his only son that he waited for so long, and he was invested so much affection in. And then he did it. He went up there and he was about to kill the son and had him tied up on the altar. And then an angel came and held his hand and said, "Hold it. It's okay. It was a test." The Lord wanted to see if there's anything.
Prank.
What?
It was a
Yeah.
prank.
Yeah. He wants to see if there's anything that you put before what I'm asking you. Even something I asked you to do before, even something that's not logical, even something that seems immoral. And so Krishna helps us to surrender right to the last drop. That's what the gopis did. And that's what each of us is going, because he's working on us. And he knows, okay, I'll do this, I'll do that. But this, my romances, my finances, I better
Mhm.
take care of those myself, because Krishna might blow that, might mess it up. But if it's so important for our happiness, why not put it in the hands of the Lord? And we all have this little thing that we're holding on to, right? What's his name? Gave that class recently about the flies on the fly paper, and one fly is completely smashed on the fly paper, and one just has one leg stuck to the fly paper, but he's just as stuck. He's going to die. So Krishna's helping us to get rid of all the little things that are holding back, so that we can have pure love, right? I'll let this go. I'm talking too much. Oh, glory to Prabhupada.
Thank you, Adipusha Prabhu. Yeah, the good news is that surrender has stages. Like Murli Gopal Prabhu is just beginning his journey of surrender, and all of us. So it's not going to happen. It's not that you will call up your spiritual master and he'll ask you to go to China and open a center. You most likely won't be that. That'll be something that you can handle. So that's good news.
It's so true. And sometimes to surrender can be a challenge, right? In different situations, a devotee can ask us to do something, to follow something, or just saying something that teaches us in an aspect. And that is something that we can identify. But when we have a situation where we put ourselves outside of the comfort zone, right? Like, okay, transfer all your money to my bank account, right? On that situation, as Adi said, yeah, there is a moment where you can really forget that you are on a purpose, right? You're still having a test from Krishna on that situation, and you can think, can I trust? You can think, should I do it? And yeah, maybe something happened, but that is fear, right? We can put on the side the fear and believe and following it, because it's not on top of you if something that you don't think is gonna be okay happened, right? If something happened, you did your job, right? You did what Krishna want us to do, trusting, believing, following it, do your best and give your love, right? And we can believe that Krishna knows. Krishna knows, right? So yeah, just go ahead and we will learn for anything that we go through. So we will be able also to share that with others. And that is the most beautiful part of this, right? Thank you.
Thank you, Justy.
Um,
Dear devotees, please don't transfer all your money to someone. This is a metaphor. Yeah, Krishna will not mess up your. Krishna will not.
if Krishna wants to take your money, he'll do it in ways.
He'll give you a wife. I have one more reflection since it's Saturday and we can go over time.
Mhm.
Whether you like it or not, like Murli Gopal Prabhu said, whether you like it or not, I was thinking, yeah, whether I like it or not, I will like it eventually if I take it as Krishna's arrangement. I will eventually like it. So whether you like it or not, it's all good. If you manage to see Krishna's loving hand or spanking hand behind it. Thank you, Murli Gopal Prabhu.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
One of the wonderful things about surrendering to Krishna is that whatever happens, we are happy. You know, when everything is depending upon us, there is so much fear, there is so much anxiety, there are so many things where we're just okay, I got to make this right in some way, and everything is coming against me, and why is this happening, and like, but if we're just following Krishna's dictation like that, suddenly there's this release. There's this release in our minds where it's like, oh, okay, well, that didn't go so well, did it? Anyway, at least I'm happy that I followed Krishna in Krishna's direction, and then you see that you're actually happier, with the result.
Yeah.
Exactly, because we are the soul, we are not the material physical body, right? We can remember that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make it right, make it Krishna conscious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other reflections, appreciations, blessings in disguise, maybe? No? Thank you very much, dear devotees. This was a wonderful session. Murli Gopal Prabhu, very big kijai to you. Wonderful class. Good luck in Texas. Justy, for your introspections. You're an introspective sage, for sure. Bruce Prabhu, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you for not hiding this time. Venetia, Hare Krishna, Venetia, thank you. What's your friend's name? I didn't get it yesterday.
I'm muted. Sorry, I have trouble coming off my headphones. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
His name is Whiskey.
Whiskey. Is he a devotee? Is he following the principles?
He's getting a lot of Maha Mantra and some prasad little sweets from the temple, so he's on his way.
Nice. Good. Yeah, Whiskey needs to surrender too. With Whiskey does. Andrea, Hare Krishna. Thank you for always encouraging and backing us up. Yogeshwari, Suzanne, Amrita Kishori, Didi, Amish Prabhu, Preeti Chaturvedi. It was very nice spending this morning hours with you. Have a beautiful day. You remember, you are being tested always. It's a prank, so don't fall for it. Krishna is there. And tomorrow is another day. Srimad Bhagavatam goes on, never ends. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Love you all. Hari Hari Bol.